Anita Dodd. We moved to Stafford County in 1976. Well, there were a lot of reasons, actually. My husband had his own business, a pizza shop, and he decided to expand on that and also enlarge the business somewhat and branch out. And anyway, he branched out south into Stafford County, and so he wanted to be closer to that business, which the business in Prince William County that he had kind of went away, and we actually had a fire. But anyway, it went away, and so he was moving south, and so he wanted to be closer to his business. So that was one of the reasons. It was also a rather sort of emotional one involved in that we had our youngest daughter had passed away, and I think we were just kind of looking for a new venue, to sort of make new memories. So my family really, and the family business, because several of my children and grandchildren are now involved in that family business, and so the family has stayed together basically. All my children and grandchildren are still in, if not in Stafford County, Fredericksburg, Spotsylvania, so it's close. And so I would say really the family, and of course the business has something to do with that, but well, actually my preservation career actually started out with archaeology. It actually started out with going back to college when my kids left to make their own lives. I was like, okay, now what? And so actually my brother told me about the preservation program at Mary Washington, which was then a college. And so I thought, well, I'll go back to school and I'll just take for fun, because I really didn't need to work per se, and I didn't feel like I had any marketable skills. I mean, I had I don't know, been a secretary, as but mostly I had just raised my kids. And so anyway, went back to college, which was an amazing experience for me. I had gone to college out of high school, but didn't stay very long because I ended up getting married, and I really wasn't happy with my career choices that I had in 1961 as a woman. I was told I could be, a housewife, a teacher, a secretary, a nurse. That was kind of it. None of those were things at that time that I wanted to do. So when I went back to college, I really didn't have any vision of getting a degree. I thought I'd just take some classes just for fun, some things I wanted to learn about and whatever. Well, and one of those classes was preservation, and from the very first day I walked into the class, I was hooked, and so I signed up to work towards a degree. And it really provided a lot of opportunities for me that I never would have had if I hadn't, decided to do that. The book was, I co-authored the book with Amanda Lee, who I met. She was a preservation planner for Stafford County, and because of my involvement with the Historical Commission, I worked very closely with the preservation planner in trying to preserve, sort of maintain, but the cultural resources in Stafford County. And but anyway, she and I decided to do this book. We were concerned at the time that we did the book, we were concerned over the fact that there were a lot of things in Stafford County. Well, Stafford County is more or less a bedroom community. There's a lot of people coming in that don't know anything about Stafford's history. So when they see a shopping center named Doc Stone, it means nothing to them. But to people who are familiar with Stafford County, they know that was Dr. Stone was a very important doctor in Stafford County in the early 20th century. And So we felt that the influx of construction in Stafford County was a lot of information about what was here before was being lost. So we did this book, and it was a then and now Stafford County book. And so the idea of the book was, okay, you have a picture of what used to be there, and then you have a picture of what's there now, with a little bit of information about the cultural resource that's gone, or has changed. In some places it wasn't always gone. So, so that was really a work of love for us. I mean, we had a real it meant a lot to us to get this book out. And
what kind of feedback from the community did you get from after the book was published?
Yeah, very positive, and I think there were a lot of people that were Stafford residents, longtime Stafford residents or longtime Stafford families that I think it was nostalgic for them, obviously, to see these photographs of places that either had changed or were no longer there. But then there was a lot of positive feedback from people that were new to the county and were amazed to find out, what these places really were, why they were named what they were named, and so that kind of thing. So it was a good experience. I enjoyed it. I did the photography for the now pictures, so that was kind of fun. So, yeah. The cemetery committee. I became involved with that. I think somewhere in the early '90s. I want to say. I think it was. I wrote it down here somewhere. I think it was about '95. At that point, the cemetery committee had been a group of older gentlemen that were interested in Charlie Price was sort of the person that was the head guy with this group. Homer Musselman, another individual, Picky Gibson. I mean, there were a lot of these older individuals that unfortunately are no longer with us, but they were the beginnings of the cemetery committee, and they got the Board of Supervisors to endorse the committee. And so at the time, I was chair for the Historical Commission in Stafford County, and I honestly can't remember who it was that asked me to come to one of their meetings, but I did. I'm pretty sure it was Charlie Price that asked me to come to the meeting. And there again, I got hooked immediately on this group of guys, and they dragged me all over the county in the woods, and we were looking for cemeteries, and it was great. I loved it. And then eventually became chair of the committee, and the cemetery committee in Stafford County is an amazing group of individuals because they're a group of people that come from all interests, but they all have, or I shouldn't say all interests, but have all different attributes to bring to the committee, but they all have the one interest of being interested in cemeteries and or genealogy. So we have people like Barbara Kirby and Geraldine Evie McGregor that do a lot of research for us. Most of these people do field, go out in the field as well. And we have Debbie Shelton that she's our computer guru and handles our website. So we have a lot of amazing individuals that bring a lot of talents to the committee. The committee has been very active in doing field survey. We have a little over 400 cemeteries that we have recorded, and they are on the county's cultural resource inventory list. Each cemetery has been identified at the exact spot on the tax map for Stafford County. There is a field survey form that we fill out that includes a site drawing, photographs, and any information we have about the cemetery or individuals that are in the cemetery. We record every inscription entirely, not just the name and date, because there's a lot of information on cemetery markers that provide not only genealogy information, but cultural history, Stafford County history, economics, social issues, so there's a lot of hidden information on these resources. We presented a cemetery ordinance to the county in 2007. Yeah, 2007. And this basically deals with cemeteries that are located on development to be, on land that's to be developed. And it basically sets out a management program for the cemetery. The developer is responsible for doing a delineation to determine the actual size of the cemetery. At that point, then a 35-foot buffer is established around the cemetery. A fence is then put around the cemetery, and the cemetery is put on its own parcel as opposed to being in somebody's backyard, which was what was happening before, or much worse scenarios. So and that has worked very well. We've also have a very good relationship with the Boy Scouts and Girl Scout troops in Stafford County. They have been because the Girl Scouts now have what is equivalent to an Eagle Scout designation, and so they have been using the cemeteries in Stafford County as those projects, either cleaning them up or actually doing some survey work for some of the larger, like church cemeteries, that kind of thing.